G'day folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another crazy dose of EV and net zero insanity in MGUY EV news for Sunday the 26th of October 2025. Be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links in the description, and please make sure you're subscribed and have enabled all notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you'd like to support this channel, why not buy me a coffee? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. So we're going to start today with a story that I covered a few weeks ago in the EV news. I can't find which episode it was in, so if you know which one it is, drop a link in the comments. But this was about the International Maritime Organization that was planning on introducing basically a carbon tax, a global carbon tax on shipping. And it was almost certain to go through, and it was going to add, basically, there was going to be a requirement on global shipping to reduce carbon emissions, and there would be a charge, a cost, a tax effectively, and that would effectively put up the price of every single product on the planet that needed to be shipped across the globe. But at the last minute, it has been defeated. As the headline reads, landmark deal to cut global shipping emissions in tatters after US pressure. A landmark deal to cut global shipping emissions has been abandoned after Saudi Arabia, who else, and the US succeeded in ending the talks. More than 100 countries had gathered in London to approve a deal first agreed in April, which would have seen shipping become the world's first industry to adopt internationally mandated targets to reduce emissions. But US President Donald Trump had called the plan a green scam, and representatives of his administration had threatened countries with tariffs if they voted in favor of it. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio declared the outcome a huge win for Trump. But reflecting the pressure countries faced, the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, Arsenio Dominguez, issued a plea for this not to be repeated. In a dramatic conclusion on Friday, when countries should have been voting to approve the deal, Saudi Arabia tabled a motion to adjourn the talks for a year. The chairman said this would mean that the agreement was not approved, as key timelines for the treaty would have to be revised. The motion passed by just a handful of votes. Well, it's a good sign that this did not go through, because it would have effectively been a global tax on carbon emissions, which would have added to the price of pretty much every single product on the planet. And quite frankly, the UN does not have the authority to impose taxes on independent countries. And so it's absolutely right that it was voted down. And it's the insanity of net zero. The mind virus again at work. This is an interesting story. It's always good to read real world experiences of people struggling with EV infrastructure. It's so much more complex than regular fuel stations. As I've said before, the fueling charging infrastructure is being dispersed from centralized fueling stations, which have shops and people on duty there, to random, car parks in the middle of nowhere, where these charging stations are located, and they obviously have to be connected to the internet. They have to be able to take credit card transactions, or you've got to have mobile coverage in order to connect to these accounts. You need various accounts to even use them, various apps on your phone, and it just makes everything so much harder. And this is a guy who has just had that first-hand experience and has reported it here. Ray Massey, my charging hell, shows why electric has a long way to go. Let's get something straight. I am not anti-EV nor a petrol-head Luddite. Well, there's nothing wrong with being anti-EV, quite frankly, because they're shite. I've driven and reviewed dozens of electric cars and seen them evolve from death trap machines like the MGUY to the superbly engineered vehicles of today with door handles that don't let you out. I've had an electric charger on my driveway for more than a decade, so he's an EV evangelist, clearly. Cars are no longer the issue. The national charging network is, and the nightmare I recently endured shows it's not fit for purpose. Already late for an appointment, I arrived with 32 miles left on my EV. The exact car is irrelevant, and to save time, decided to recharge on my return that evening. See this? I mean, the fact that he's having to even think about this. Oh, when am I going to charge? How many kilometers have I got left? I need to plan my life around my EV. The fact that he's even thinking this, and it's not concerning him, shows just how blinded he's been by the whole thing. Ridiculous. My sat-nav showed a fast-charging BP Pulse station close by. The first machine accepted my credit card and I connected the cable to my car, but it wouldn't charge and the card reader would not accept my card again. I tried other cards and chargers, zilch. A good Samaritan came to my aid, Porsche EV specialist Jack Marshall. He explained that the BP Pulse tap card readers don't have an option to enter a PIN, a huge flaw, and after a few taps the card gets blocked. Jack tried his account card, it was accepted, but seconds later a warning appeared, connector damaged. Retry with a different connector. We did, many. Each time more alerts were thrown up. After 5 or 6 different connectors, we both lost count, we gave up. Only then did I tell him what my job is. Well, the fact that we're even prepared vaguely to accept this kind of nonsense just shows how much we have been brainwashed and indoctrinated to accept a second-class product. There's no way that this should be the way that fueling our vehicles progresses now. It's a step backwards. It's a massive step backwards from the simplicity of putting a pipe with a nozzle in a tank. Easy. There's very little that can go wrong with that. But putting electricity into a battery is a whole different story. Much more complex, actually far more dangerous than just pumping gas. And you need all the technology to manage it, which breaks frequently. Unbelievable. And in the UK, we see another example of how the environmentalists are standing by silent while huge swathes of woodland and forests are being chopped down. Where are they? Why are they not screaming from the rooftops about this environmental damage? Labour plans to chop down forests for solar farms. Politicians and conservation charities alarmed at changes to bill opening up England's forests to massive renewable energy projects. Woodlands face being cleared to make way for solar farms and wind turbines under Labour's latest plans to hit net zero targets. Ministers are spearheading a legal change that would open up England's forests to host massive new renewable energy projects. The proposals have sparked alarm among conservation charities, peers and MPs, and it would do in anybody who's still got a functioning brain left, who fear they will lead to the loss of precious natural spaces. But it doesn't matter because net zero trumps everything. The proposals are buried in the government's planning and infrastructure bill. Yes, they would be buried because they don't want to admit what they're doing, which is in its final stages in the Lords and is expected to become law soon. The legislation will grant the Forestry Commission, the quango that manages England's woodlands, the power to use its lands for green energy. That will include the construction of solar farms and wind turbines, as well as battery storage plants and electricity transmission lines such as pylons. It's disgraceful. It's the same that's going on here in Australia, where massive swathes of beautiful, unspoilt forest that have not been touched for centuries are being ripped up, bulldozed to put up wind turbines. And the amount of infrastructure that's required, the roads that are required, it's absolutely disgraceful, despicable what they're doing. And yet because it's net zero, because it's green energy, it just gets waved through without any scrutiny whatsoever, especially from the environmentalists who just look the other way. And of course, as always, all these articles are linked in the description. Go and read them for yourselves. I'm just giving you a small taste of each one. And we had a story recently about how Porsche is abandoning its EV plans because its bottom line I think its profits were down something like 90% or something. It was outrageous. I saw a headline today. And of course, why would you buy an electric Porsche? I mean, who would buy an electric Porsche? Nobody with a heart and beating heart and soul. And similarly, who would buy an electric Lamborghini? I mean, you buy it for the V12 engine or the V10 engine or whatever. And so, yes, of course, Lamborghini swerves away from all-electric future. What a surprise. The boss of Lamborghini has said its customers still want the sound and the emotion of internal combustion engines. This is almost exactly what Porsche said just 2 days ago. And the company will use them in its cars for at least the next decade, and probably longer. Speaking to the BBC at the Italian supercar maker's London showroom, Chief Executive Stefan Winkelmann, sounds a bit German for an Italian supercar manufacturer, said enthusiasm for electric cars was declining, creating an opportunity to focus on hybrid power instead. Lamborghini will decide in the next month whether a long-planned new model, the Lanzador, will be all-electric or merely a plug-in hybrid, he said. Well, I think I know the answer to that. It ain't going to be all electric. Nobody would buy an electric Lamborghini. Well, unless they just had more money than sense and just wanted the badge. Mr. Winkelmann insisted the business was socially responsible, but added that as a low-volume manufacturer, its actions would have a limited impact on the environment. Absolutely correct. And I've been saying this all along. You know, Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, all of these, Porsche even to some extent, although they're a bit more of a high volume, they make no difference to the climate, the amount of cars they make. Whether they're V12s or electric, the planet won't even notice. And quite frankly, their customers want petrol cars that give them emotion and involvement and engagement. They don't want freaking golf carts. And another story that we've dealt with quite recently is the deaths and injuries caused by these terrible car doors, the doors that the electric door handles that retract into the car and then don't pop out when they're in a crash. Now, the reason that these are not just EV specific handles, other cars use them as well, but the reason that the EVs started using them is because EVs are so sensitive to wind resistance and aerodynamics that they need to do anything possible to avoid drag, additional drag. And so by making the door handles flush, that actually removes quite a lot of drag, which means that they can eke out another few kilometers of range from their batteries. This, of course, makes no effect to a petrol car. A petrol engine won't even notice whether the handles are sticking out or not. But because they look so cool, other car manufacturers, non-EVs, are also starting to do this. But they are freaking dangerous. And now it's attracting the attention of the UN, which for once is a good thing. UN safety warning over Tesla-style car door handles linked to deaths. Experts sound the alarm after people were trapped in vehicles after crashes. Safety experts have raised concerns over the reliability of Tesla-style car door handles after they were blamed for the deaths of passengers. Car safety officials at the United Nations have sounded the alarm following incidents of people burning to death after they were trapped in vehicles after a crash. We've covered several stories like this on this channel where a Tesla has crashed and it has caught fire frequently because any kind of minor ding to the battery is more than likely going to cause it to go into thermal runaway, and that creates a sense of urgency, obviously, because you need to get people out and the door handles are not working. They warned that the electronic handles, which sit flush on a car door, may not open following an accident if a battery-powered vehicle loses power. The experts noted that in real-world crashes, retractable door handles may not open. Concerns have been raised just weeks after Tesla was sued in the US over claims that its Cybertruck car doors failed after an accident last November, leading to the deaths of 3 people who were trapped when the vehicle caught fire. Pioneered by Tesla, hidden door handles have since been introduced on dozens of other vehicles and are designed to pop out when pressed or when they detect a car key nearby. As well as external changes, many vehicles have now also replaced internal handles with electronic buttons or switches. Some vehicles have backup mechanical unlocking features, but these are often difficult to locate. And they're even more difficult to locate after you've just been in a crash and you might be suffering concussion, you might be even unconscious, and you need someone to assist from outside. If you can't do that, you are in big trouble. And finally for today, just another reminder of why you should never buy an EV, because they are impractical, inconvenient, and they make life difficult for you. Back in the UK, obviously it's getting colder, and now EV drivers are being reminded of all the problems that they're going to face thanks to the cold. EV drivers warn to be aware of one issue when travelling in autumn and winter. EV electric vehicle drivers have been warned about one major issue they need to be aware of when travelling in the colder months of autumn and winter. Colder temperatures can cause a reduction in an EV's range, meaning some could be caught out if not aware. However, there are a few ways to help navigate this risk and to keep the performance of the EV at more efficient levels. Yes, because that's the only thing you have to worry about. The EV is in control of your life. You are no longer in control of the EV. It rules you. You just have to be on call to attend to every single little whim of these EVs, because back in the old days, back in the bad old days, cars just used to be a tool. They'd do what you wanted. But now with EVs, we have to be sensitive to the EV's needs, and when it's cold, it has to be treated extra special. Halford's motoring expert Andy Turberfield shared, during cold conditions, EV's range can drop dramatically, sometimes by as much as a third. But why does this happen? Most EVs rely on lithium-ion batteries, which are less efficient in cold temperatures because they are chemical reactions, and chemical reactions just go slower. While petrol and diesel engines use heat produced by the engine for comforts like warming your vehicle's interior, EVs must draw directly from the power source, its high-voltage battery, meaning this can have double the impact on range as well as slowing down charging times. What should EV drivers do during the winter? Andy has shared a few tips for EV drivers to help avoid this issue, such as avoiding blasting the heat when in the car. He explained, while it can be tempting to make your car a cozy tropical haven during cold spells, maxing out your car's climate is a one-way ticket to needing a roadside rescue. If you can, be economic about using heat. Yes, just wear more clothes and save it for when it's truly needed. If your car includes it, use heated seats, steering wheel heating, or lower level cabin heat settings instead of blasting full HVAC. Additionally, you could warm the car up before you set off, which will use grid power instead of deploying the battery. I'm just scanning the rest of the article to see if it says put more clothes on. That would be the cheapest option, wouldn't it? So here's the instructions. In the 21st century with EVs, what we need to do if it gets cold is wear more clothes. Okay? Don't even think about getting warm in your car anymore. Okay, so that's just for petrol head Luddites like me. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now. If you'd like to support this channel and display your anti-EV credentials to your Tesla-owning neighbours at the same time, why not buy some awesome MGUY merchandise, like this mug, this baseball cap, or this t-shirt. Each high-quality item sports the MGUY No EV sign, and they're all made to order, perfect for irritating the hell out of your local EV zealots. Visit store.mguy.tv or click the link in the description to check out the full range of products. And of course, you can always just buy me a coffee. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Thanks very much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any tips or stories, go there. If you'd like to watch another video, go there. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, go there. And please subscribe to the channel.